Hello everyone, my name is Bernard Muhia. I'm a member of the Amnesty Nairobi COC of Conscience. Welcome to Resolution 13. Our goal is to tell the stories of environmentalists and conservationists who are working hard to upholding Resolution 48/13 of the UN Human Rights Council, which recognizes a human right to a safe, clean, healthy and sustainable environment. My fellow members and I set out to find a link between human rights, the environment, and climate change. This is what we know.
In 2020, over 200
environmental human rights defenders were murdered,
making it once again the most dangerous year on record
for people defending their land, livelihoods, and ecosystems.
The Paris Agreement 2015 states that the parties should, when taking action to address climate change, respect, promote, and consider their respective obligations on human rights, the right to health, the right to indigenous people, local communities, migrants, children,
and persons with disability and people in vulnerable situations, and the right to development as well as gender equality, empowerment of women, and intergenerational equity.
On October 8, 2021, the United Nations
Human Rights Council, in its 48th session, passed Resolution 13
that recognizes a human right to a safe, clean, healthy, and sustainable environment.
Science continues to show that as the impacts of climate change accelerate,
extreme weather events are taking a major toll in developing countries,
particularly in Africa and Asia, home to some of the world's largest youth populations.
The impacts of climate change will not be borne equally or fairly
between rich and poor, women and men, or even younger and older generations.
There has been a growing focus on climate justice, which looks at the climate crisis
through a human rights lens and on the belief that by working together,
we can create a better future for present and future generations.
Climate change is happening now and to all of us. No country or community is immune, said UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. And as is always the case, the poor and the vulnerable are the first to suffer and the worst hit.
This is how climate change affects human rights, the right to life. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC,
projected an increase in people suffering from death and injury occurring from an increase in floods, storms, heat waves, fires, and droughts.
This is how climate change affects human rights, the right to food. Climate change is going to affect all 4 pillars of food security.
That is availability, access, utilization, and stability. The United Nations Development Programme
estimates an additional 600 million people will face malnutrition due to climate change.
This is how climate change affects human rights, the right to water.
People will feel the effects of climate change the most strongly
through changes in patterns of water distribution around the globe.
This is how climate change affects human rights, the right to health. The World Health Organization estimates that since 1970, climate change is responsible for 150,000 deaths every year through the spread of diarrhea, malaria, and malnutrition.
The World Health Organization, WHO, also says that 24% of all global deaths, roughly 13.7 million deaths a year, are linked to the environment due to risks such as air pollution and chemical exposure.
So there you have it, a clear link between human rights, the environment, and climate change. This is what Professor Wangari Maathai realized, that climate and environmental justice is interlinked with human rights. It is our desire to walk the path that she walked. We have the power, we the people.